You know how God's will is always done? Well, there are those who resist his will. So I feel like there's like this feeling in people. So where it says of Zion that the time to favor her has come, it's like in the hearts of people, like of man, because like the kingdom is like this feminine energy to be harsh and severe, and they're doing the will of God because it's like, what's this energy that's around them? So naturally, they're gonna like succumb to this to do His will, but then they go further than His will to be harsher than they should have been when they should have reached upward to like gain a hold of Hesed even before it's time. But when it's time for God to have mercy on Zion, then it's like there's this energy shift, and like people are all of a sudden waking up and be like, let's be nice, to like this the feminine and to Zion. And so but they could still resist, so like not everybody's doing this, but generally like when it's time, like she's done her exile and now it's time to start showing kindness to her, then it's like this energy in people also changes. This is the paragraph that we left off with, though. And we found a diagram that has the circles in it. And maybe he is referring to these two versions, one that includes Keter, the crown, as the 10 Sephirot, and one that includes knowledge, because I guess he'd be saying maybe the circular one, since is saying that it should be more encompassing, like let me pull this image up. I have to switch to share entire screen. So let's say that Da'at is not included in here. And so the circular one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's go to the next circle. And then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And this last one would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 is only in this upper circle. Something like this is maybe what he's referring to. So what I'm saying is that what I found was there's two versions of, there's only 10 Sefirot, but some count Keter as one and some count Da'at as one. Because right here there's 11. So that's the two versions that I was finding, and I don't know what he means by the upright version. So Malkut is more severe than the six Sephirot of Zer Anpin, which represents the system of justice. So Zer Anpin was the lower face, which is more judgment. So that was the short face one, like he's short tempered. So a way to remember this is it's AA and ZA. So Aleph coming first, and at least in the English alphabet, Z coming last. But either way, Z coming after Aleph. So Eric Anpin was like Aleph, God up higher, and Zer Anpin is that lower, um, shorter face. The shorter face is the lower one, and the longer face is the upper one. For since Malkut is called righteous judgment, it is more exacting. Only at times, through the merit of mankind, does Malkut join Chesed, kindness, resulting in Rachamim, mercy. A general conduct which is an expression of judgment, such as Malkut, and conduct is like a conduit, I guess. I keep thinking conduct like behavior, is considered to be female. This is one reason that Malkut is often called Nukva, female. So the Malkut receives. Bina is somewhat more relative to Hakma, since discernments begin to arise in it. Therefore, it too is considered to be female. Accordingly, in Kabbalistic terminology, when the judgmental aspect of a particular Sephirah is mentioned, the feminine gender is used. For example, Eric Anpin and his female refers to Keter, which is the quality of absolute mercy, and the potential judgment dormant in it. Gevurah and Hod, though they are expressions of judgment, they're under that line of the judgment, are not generally considered to be female. They're on the feminine side. This is because they are integral components in the reward and punishment of the system of justice. Zer Anpin, which is masculine, and do not function independently of it. The Sephirot have both revealed and concealed aspects. The revealed is considered to be external, and the concealed is considered to be internal. An example of a concealed aspect is a kindness done in secrecy, in which the kindness or goodness is not recognized. As stated in Proverbs, good is a revealed rebuke coming from a hidden love, or better is open rebuke than hidden love. But like in the Hebrew, it's just saying, it doesn't say those comparisons the way we say it in English. So basically it says good is a revealed rebuke coming from a hidden love. The recipient of a miracle does not recognize it as such. So even the judgment is coming from love. Sometimes instead of Keter, Da'at is enumerated amongst the Sephirot. The GRA explains that the inclusion of Keter reflects the inner aspect, while the inclusion of Da'at reflects the external aspect. That's what we're talking about, the two versions of 10, where some have Keter and some have Da'at. So now it's saying that Da'at is like more like revealed. It's like this applied understanding, and more like Messiah to me, like seeing the Father in the flesh, like the fullness of the Godhead dwelt in him bodily. So seeing exactly how to walk out the Torah, what's the will of God. And Keter is like that unseeable, unknowable, highest aspect. And so that knowledge that comes down to us is like much more tangible. This is because the quality of Keter, that top crown, great mercy, is not presently revealed. It will only be fully realized in the coming world. This is indicated by the divine name, I will be, Ehyeh, in the future tense, meaning I am destined to be, after the 6,000th year of creation. And then Moses just tells the people, I am, is I will be what I will be, and I am what I am. And he's like, right now you want the ever present, I am what I am. And then what I will be, he didn't tell it to them, just that I am has sent you. So I am destined to be after the 6,000th year of creation, since the conduct toward the world in preparatory to Hashem's ultimate intent of benefiting all, Keter, though concealed, it is its underlying and motivating force. As stated in the Talmud, everything that the merciful one does is for good. For this reason, Keter is only counted in respect to the hidden inner aspect, but regarding the external aspect, Da'at is counted instead, since it represents the minuscule revelation of Keter in this world on a lesser level. It is therefore centered under Hakma, which is free of judgment, and Bina, in which discernment begins to arise, being a median conduct between them. Again, reminding me of Messiah, where he's like forgiving of the sin, being as what's hidden is his rachamim, his great mercy. And so it's the Keter level is like that hidden level, and then the revealed level is that knowledge that's more tangible to us. And I think that's what Messiah represents, that abundant mercy that was shown to his people and to the whole entire world. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him. All that is revealed and known to us of Keter is that this world is preparatory to its revelation in the coming world. Accordingly, Keter is the root of all present conducts or conduits, since it was Hashem's original intent to reveal Keter through them, the last deed being first in thought. I think the last deed of creation being man. So he wants to, that was like his first thought, and he wants to reveal his abundant mercy through man. This explains the above statement that Keter is counted regarding the inner aspect, but regarding the external aspect, Da'at is counted instead, and Keter is only considered to be the root. Keter is therefore called Ein, nothingness. It is not. And Resha De'ein, the primal nothingness, because we comprehend almost nothing of it. Accordingly, the GRA states that revelation begins with Hakma. The order of the Sefirot would then be Hakma, Bina, Da'at, Chesed for us. Thus, since the revealed aspect begins with Hakma and Bina, they are called father and mother, Abba ve'ima, father and mother. For since discernment begins to arise in Bina, it is considered to be a female. The Sefirot can therefore be categorized into 5 general modes of conduct, Partsufim: Eric Anpin, the long-faced, patient for Keter, Abba, father for Hakma, Ima, mother for Bina, Zer Anpin, the short-tempered for the 6 Sefirot, Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, which collectively constitute the system of justice, and Nucha, the female for Malchut. So if we inserted knowledge in there, it's kind of like, to me, it's like the Vav, like the birth canal that these 6 come from. So together, it's like there's 7. Sometimes the 10 Sefirot are categorized as the 5 kindnesses and the 5 severities. The 5 kindnesses are Keter, Hakma, Chesed, Tiferet, and Netzach. So even some of those in the middle, sometimes they're like right-leaning or left-leaning. The 5 severities are Bina, under that Gevurah, under that Hod, and Yesod is like a middle one that leads toward Gevurah, and Malchut also leaning towards the severity. The 6 Sefirot of Zer Anpin are called Vav Kitzavot, the 6 extremities, corresponding to the 6 directions of the world. So like if you picture a man having these 10 Sefirot, the intellect is not an extremity, but will have like arms and extremities. So Chesed corresponds to the south, Gevurah to the north, Tiferet to the east, Netzach to up, Hod to down, and Yesod to the west. Hashem formed all the limbs and organs of man corresponding to the supernal conducts. Each of man's limb hints at a divine conduct, like something conducts electricity so it flows. Since there are 10 general sephirot, so too in man there are 10 general corresponding parts. The head corresponding to the first 3 sephirot, the skull and membrane to Keter, the right hemisphere of the brain to Chokmah, the left hemisphere of the brain to Bina, the cerebellum to Da'at, the right arm and hand to Chesed, the left arm and hand to Gevurah, the torso to Tiferet, the right leg and foot to Netzach, the left hand and foot to Hod, the male organ which carries the sign of the Holy Covenant, Brit Kodesh, to Yesod, and the glands, Eteret Habrit, to Malchut. Kabbalah sometimes refers to the Sephirot by the names of their corresponding limbs in man. For example, Keter is called Golgalta, skull. Chokmah and Bina are called Mochin, the brains. Chesed is called the right arm, etc. Obviously, these names are allegorical. It should not, heaven forbid, enter one's mind that any image or form exists, for this would certainly be an absolute error, constituting a complete denial of the truth of the Torah. Chapter 2. The matter of the 613 limbs and organs of man and their spiritual counterparts, as well as the subject of the Partsufim. Above, the limbs of man and their spiritual counterparts were categorized in a general way. More specifically, the conducts are further subdivided. Each general sephirah of Keter contains 10 sephirot, Keter of Keter, Chokmah of Keter, Bina of Keter, etc., until Malchut of Keter. So also the general sephirah of Chokmah contains 10 sephirot, Keter of Chokmah, Chokmah of Chokmah, etc. This principle applies to all the sephirot. Each sephirah contains something of all the other sephirot in it. Keter contains everything in a state of potentiality, since it is the source of all. Since Malchut is the final result of all, it receives from all. All the intermediate levels between these two extremities both receive from the levels above them and contain the potentiality for the levels subsequent to them. This may be compared to the generations. Our father Avraham was the first Jew, and thus bore the potential for every subsequent Jew throughout the generations. The Jews of our generation, being the final result, carry all the influence of our ancestry all the way back through the generations to Avraham. We also have something of every other Jew of our generation within us. This is because we are all related and intertwined with each other. As stated, all Israel are intertwined with each other. Each particular sephirah contains 10 further subdivisions. Keter of Keter contains Keter of Keter of Keter, Chokmah of Keter, Bina of Keter, etc., until Malchut of Keter. All the particular sephirot are subdivided in this manner. Man's limbs and organs, too, are subdivided corresponding to the subdivisions of their spiritual counterparts. The skull and its membrane, which corresponds to Keter, has 10 components corresponding to the 10 sephirot of Keter. Eitz Chaim categorizes them as follows. The skull corresponds to Keter of Keter, the right ear, Chokmah of Keter, the left ear, Bina of Keter, the forehead, Da'at of Keter, the right eye, Chesed of Keter, the left eye, Gevurah of Keter, the nose to Tiferet of Keter, the upper lip to Netzach of Keter, the lower lip to Hod of Keter, the tongue to Yesod of Keter, the mouth to Malkuth of Keter. Sefer Yetzirah states that there are 7 components in the head. These are called the 7 gates or orifices. According to the GRA, they correspond to these 7 sephirot. The right eye to Chesed, the left eye to Netzach, the right ear to Gevurah, the left ear to Hod, the right nostril to Tiferet, the left nostril to Yesod, and the mouth to Malkuth. Kabbalah sometimes refers to the subdivisions of Keter by the names of their corresponding parts of the head. For example, Peh, mouth, refers to Malkuth of Keter. This explains why Malkuth is sometimes called Peh, mouth, and sometimes Atara, glands. The term Peh, mouth, refers to the particular sephirah of Malkuth of Keter, whereas Atara, glands, refers to the general sephirah of Malkuth. This principle applies to all the general and particular sephirot. Each sephirah contains the 3 general modes of conduct: pure kindness, pure judgment, and the median conduct of mercy. Mercy being what's coming from that crown there. For example, the sephirah of Chesed contains kindness of Hesed, judgment of Hesed, and mercy of Hesed. The sephirah of Gevurah contains kindness of Gevurah, judgment of Gevurah, and mercy of Gevurah. This principle applies to all the sephirot. Each of man's limbs contains 3 components corresponding to these 3 general modes of conduct. The arms, which correspond to Chesed and Gevurah, each contain a hand, forearm, and upper arm. The torso, which corresponds to Tiferet, contains the chest, heart area, and navel area. The legs, which correspond to Netzach and Hod, each contain a thigh, calf, and foot, etc. The general modes of conduct as they exist in the sephirot are sometimes called by the names of their corresponding limbs in man. The right hand, the kindness of Chesed; the right forearm, the judgment of Chesed; the right upper arm, to mercy of Chesed; the left hand, to kindness of Gevurah; the left forearm, to judgment of Gevurah; the left upper arm, to mercy of Gevurah; the chest, to kindness of Tiferet; the navel area, to judgment of Tiferet; the heart, to mercy of Tiferet; the right thigh, to kindness of Netzach; the right calf, to judgment of Netzach; the right foot, to mercy of Netzach; the left thigh, to kindness of Hod; the left calf, to judgment of Hod; the left foot, to mercy of Hod, etc. Therefore, when the term chazah, chest, is used in Kabbalistic literature, it refers to kindness of Tiferet. Tabur, navel, refers to judgment of Tiferet. Right hand, to kindness of Chesed, and left thigh, to kindness of Hod, etc. Although Keter is absolute mercy, it is the root of all subsequent conducts which are preparatory to, as stated. The last deed was first in thought, and therefore possesses the potential qualities of kindness, judgment, and mercy. In Keter, these are called the three heads or beginnings. These three heads constitute the highest of the 10 Sephirot of Keter. They are called Golgotha, skull, Moach, brain, and Avira, gaseous membrane. That is Keter of Keter, Hakma of Keter, and the median conduct between them. They are also called Or Kadmon, the primal light, or Tzach, the brilliant light, and Or Metzukzach, the radiant light. The Zohar sometimes refers to Keter of Keter, the skull, as Atika Kadisha, the transcendent Holy One, and to Hakma of Keter, the brain, as Hakma Stima, the hidden Chakma, Moach Stim'ah, the hidden brain, or Batsina de Cardenutha, the black flame, because kindness and judgment are the more essential conducts, mercy being a conditioning of the two. Okay, so we're learning in Keter, it too has those three attributes as all the other ones have. Kindness, chesed, judgment, which is gevura, and that median between them is the mercy. So Keter of Keter, the kindness, and the skull, and the brain being the judgment, and mercy being that lining between the brain and the skull, if I have that right. So sometimes only they are enumerated. Furthermore, sometimes only one head is enumerated, since judgment too is ultimately for good. Then we don't have too much more time on this 30-minute clip, but we'll get into these three elements, air, water, and fire, corresponding to mercy, kindness, and judgment, which are signified by the letters Aleph, Mem, and Shin. Aleph corresponds to Keter or Da'at, mercy and air, Mem to Chakma, kindness and water, and Shin to Bina, judgment and fire. Since Aleph, Mem, and Shin are the sources of all subsequent conducts, they are called the three mothers. So again, Aleph is matched up with the air and mercy, Mem with the water and kindness. It's something that just flows downward, and the Shin, judgment, with the fire. So I might have said that this was a quick little book. It might still be a decent sized book, but yeah, it's been really helpful. So we're just continuing onward with. May Hashem bless you for your hunger to seek Him out. Thank you for joining me on this journey. It's enough for me for tonight, but I pray that you are blessed for this study of Torah.